The high-earning man struggling with intimacy and the 4-year escapism. This story is a powerful, candid look at the successful modern man, financially secure and professionally accomplished, who finds himself deeply isolated in his emotional life. It's about the comfort of casual connection, the avoidance of true intimacy, and the lingering sense of failure that comes with relying on transactional relationships. The user is a 33-year-old man who is highly successful in his career, earning around $15,000 a month in his corporate job, which affords him a very comfortable life. His professional success, however, contrasts sharply with his romantic history. He had his first serious girlfriend at 23, a beautiful woman whom he dated for a year and a half. That relationship ended naturally when he moved for work and school. Since then, he has struggled with committed relationships. He maintains many female friendships and handles interactions with women well, but his 2 subsequent relationships quickly failed, lasting less than a year. Over time, he simply lost interest in pursuing a serious romantic life, choosing instead to focus entirely on his career. About 5 years ago, a pattern began to emerge. He started engaging with sex workers, GP or escorts. He admits he never enjoyed it and felt like a complete failure every time. Yet, he is a conversational person, and he often built rapport with the women he saw, sometimes sticking with the same person for a long time. These women often found him normal, educated, and pleasant, and he was consistently complimented on his physical attributes. This continued until he met one woman near his home who completely captivated him. She was, in his eyes, the epitome of beauty, full-figured, wide hips, and gorgeous. He became deeply involved with her. She eventually stopped seeing other clients, but their thing, which he struggles to define beyond just something good, continued for 4 years. He knew her background. He met her while she was working, so he felt he had no right to complain about her past, and he respected her choice to not want marriage or a committed relationship due to her personal reasons. Their dynamic was complex. They were intimate, he occasionally helped her financially, but they also provided deep psychological support for each other, sharing many moments of genuine care and tenderness. That 4-year connection finally ended last week, and the feeling of failure has returned with a vengeance. He can't understand why he can't sustain a serious relationship. He feels the strong urge to return to transactional encounters because, despite the shame, it provides an easy outlet for intimacy. He is now struggling to resist the urge to go back to that old pattern. This is a classic case of intimacy avoidance disguised as career focus. Your high professional success is a sophisticated coping mechanism. The reason the 4-year non-relationship worked so well was that it had built-in limitations. It provided the emotional comfort and physical closeness you crave, but without the terrifying risk of commitment, shared future, or the high-stakes rejection that comes with traditional dating. You weren't maintaining a relationship, you were maintaining a safe, comfortable arrangement. The failure is not in your ability to be a good partner, as proven by the 4 years of kindness, but in your fear of choosing a partner without a pre-existing escape route. The key to stopping the cycle of returning to escorts is to understand that the desire for physical connection is normal, but the urgency you feel is rooted in emotional escapism. The transactional connection is easy because it requires no vulnerability, no risk of judgment, and no need to truly commit. How to stop this cycle? You need to bridge the gap between your professional success and your emotional availability. The goal is to build a high-quality life that has no room for the shame you feel. Stop self-labeling. Immediately stop calling yourself a failure. You are a successful man with an intimacy challenge. Define your true needs. What did you really miss when the 4-year arrangement ended? The tenderness, the conversation, or the easy sex? Identify the core emotional need and find a healthy way to meet it, as in join a social club or a specialized group discussion to find the conversation. Embrace vulnerability. Start dating women who align with your values and consciously force yourself to be vulnerable by sharing your hopes and fears, accepting the inevitable risk of rejection. The difficulty in maintaining relationships lies in the avoidance of that risk. The shame you carry is the heaviest burden of your success. You have mastered the external world, your career, your finances, but you have avoided the terrifying vulnerability of the internal world. The comfort you found in that 4-year arrangement was a beautiful, tender illusion, but it ultimately served as a sanctuary from the hard work of true intimacy. You are not destined for failure. You are simply addicted to safety. To break the cycle, you must exchange the easy comfort of transactional intimacy for the terrifying risk of genuine commitment. The goal is not just to stop seeing sex workers, but to start dating your own emotional self. Once you accept that you are worthy of love without caveats, you will attract and maintain a partner who celebrates your success without needing to be paid for their presence.
4 years married, 1 foot out the door. The ghost of past conflict. This story highlights a unique, painful phenomenon in long-term commitment. When a relationship objectively improves, but the memory of past suffering is so strong that it poisons the present peace. It's about a man who is ready to leave a good marriage because he cannot escape the trauma of how it began. The user is 26 years old and has been married for 4 years. His relationship started with a slow burn. He and his wife, who lived in a nearby city in the same state, were virtual friends on Facebook for an entire year before they even started dating. They dated for another year, traveling back and forth to visit each other while he prepared their home. The conflict began only after they got married and she moved into his city. Early on, they experienced frequent and intense conflicts, many ugly fights. Now, years later, the marriage is objectively great. Things have improved dramatically. However, despite the current peace, the user is profoundly unhappy and constantly anxious under the same roof. The trauma of those early fights has made him deeply afflicted, and his mind won't stop running. His overwhelming desire is to go to the courthouse immediately, file for divorce, and move on with his life. He simply cannot stand being married anymore. The issue came to a head earlier today during a small, insignificant argument. His wife, perhaps sensing his distance, made a sharp defensive statement. She told him he should go to the courthouse because she is also tired of being married to him. Despite their current compatibility, he notes that they are great for each other. He genuinely does not want to be in the relationship anymore. He feels a pressing fear that he will remain a captive in the situation for years, regretful of the time he wasted. He is paralyzed by inaction. He sought advice from a personal friend and his wife who work with couples, and they give him direct counsel. If this is truly his will, he needs to have an honest conversation and move out until the divorce is finalized. But he cannot bring himself to act. He can't say, "I don't want this anymore, I'm filing for divorce," and follow through. He also points out that they are fundamentally very different people in terms of their core interests and tastes. The core concept at play here is relational PTSD. You are not reacting to the current state of your marriage, but to the traumatic memory of the initial state. Those ugly fights created a deep emotional scar, and even though the surface has healed, the deep wound has created a foundational instability. Your mind perceives the current calm as a temporary lull before the next storm, triggering a chronic fight or flight response. Your body is telling you this house is not safe, even when your conscious mind says, "We are fine now." This is why the urge to flee is so intense and non-stop. The crucial difference you must recognize is between functional compatibility, which you have now, you don't fight much, and emotional integrity. If the memory of the conflict is strong enough to negate the present happiness, then the foundational trust required for marriage is irrevocably broken. You have reached a point where the only thing keeping you in the marriage is the difficulty of executing the exit, which is often a fear of hurting her or perhaps the fear of your own post-divorce loneliness. The inability to act is simply the final paralyzing stage of the deep anxiety the relationship created. Your friend gave you the only correct advice. Action brings clarity. You must treat your mind's anxiety as a signal that the relationship is done. You are not waiting for things to get bad again. You are waiting for the emotional courage to leave a situation that no longer serves your peace. The anxiety you feel, this constant consuming need to flee, is the quiet wisdom of your spirit asserting itself. Do not ignore this signal. Many people confuse the comfort of familiarity with the promise of future happiness, allowing the memory of past pain to become a chain that binds them to an inadequate but ultimately soul-crushing present. Your marriage may be functional, but your soul is not at peace, and that is a non-negotiable requirement for a well-lived life. The biggest regret you can have at 46 will not be that you chose to divorce, but that you chose to remain captive at 26 out of fear of difficult action. The courage you need is not to fight your wife. It is to bravely face the temporary chaos of leaving for the permanent peace of choosing yourself.
The perfect partner dilemma, trapped by logic, lost by heart. This story touches on a universal dilemma, being in a relationship that is perfect on paper, yet utterly devoid of genuine feeling. It asks a painful question. Should I stay with the ideal partner out of fear of never finding better, even if my heart is completely gone? The user is 25, his girlfriend is 24, and they are 2 months away from their 3-year anniversary. He admits that she is, by all societal standards, the perfect girl. She comes from a good family, has a stable background, doesn't frequent parties, and resolves issues through calm dialogue. She would be, as he notes, the ideal wife and mother. Here lies the devastating disconnect. Despite recognizing her perfection, he feels his ability to love her has evaporated. He has been feeling this emotional numbness for at least a year and a half, but he has desperately clung to the relationship out of the cold, hard logic that he likely won't find another person this suited for building a family. When they are together, he can't connect. He often doesn't want to be there at all. His sexual desire for her has diminished to almost nothing, and she has noticed. Just yesterday, she confronted him directly, asking why he has been so distant lately. The situation is rapidly reaching a crisis point. He managed to delay the inevitable by studying in a different city, seeing her only twice a month. But starting next year, she will be moving to his city and attending the same university. He feels increasingly trapped and terrified of ending the relationship. He doubts his ability to try anything different since he feels he has already been trying for a year and a half with no success. The key psychological concept at play here is emotional inertia driven by the fear of the unknown. You are not staying because you love her. You are staying because you are terrified of the emptiness of your future without the stability she represents. You have logically determined that she is a rare commodity, the perfect foundation for a family, and you are prioritizing that logical, future-oriented security over your present, authentic happiness. This dynamic is incredibly unfair to both of you. You are withholding your genuine self and genuine love, leaving her feeling confused and emotionally starved. The relationship is operating on the principle of avoidance. You are avoiding the pain of the breakup, and she is avoiding the truth of your distance. The approaching change, her moving to your city, is forcing the confrontation you have skillfully evaded for 18 months. Continuing this relationship will not make you love her more. It will only build resentment, turning a good woman into a convenient scapegoat for your own fear. You have already checked out. The only remaining step is the painful but necessary act of honesty. The cold truth you must face is that you are using her perfection as a shield against your own fear of solitude and uncertainty. By clinging to this relationship out of logic, you are engaging in a slow, agonizing act of cruelty, deceiving her into believing she is loved while suffocating your own soul. The pain of leaving an imperfect relationship is often easier than the suffocating emptiness of staying in a relationship that is perfect for someone else. Your job is not to find a way to force your feelings back. Your job is to find the courage to be honest. You will not build a happy family on a foundation of intellectual calculation and emotional resignation. Choose the temporary pain of honest separation over the permanent regret of a life lived as an emotional hostage. This is perhaps the hardest boundary we have to set, the boundary between logic and the heart. If this conversation about emotional inertia and the fear of the unknown resonated with you, please like this video and subscribe for more deep dive analyses. And now I want to hear from you. What is the single most terrifying relationship decision you had to make for the sake of your own long-term happiness? Let us know in the comments below.